Barbecue. Hello and welcome to another Booze, Booze, and Barbecue. This is Andy, and I have a very special guest in the studio, Coy. How you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, I had to have you back for a recap of our barbecue competition.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I had a great time, and can't wait to do another one with you, actually. I've been thinking about it a lot since then.
Well, you really did me a solid showing up. I don't know how I would have gone through it just by myself. You were able to show up. My nephew was able to show up. It was just the perfect amount of people to kind of keep it rolling.
Yeah, no, we were all surprisingly busy all day. And as I've looked at some of these other competitions, some of them would be even more work and more busy, which could get pretty crazy. I mean, you wouldn't think a barbecue competition would be a lot of work, but it actually turns out you're pretty busy.
Oh, yeah, because all we did was literally just a couple of chickens and the ribs. And you and I were looking at the rules for Showdown at Juarez Canyon, which I'd still like to go to. It might be as a competitor. We'll see. I would like to compete in it at some point, but it is a huge commitment because there's a ton of stuff to prepare. So let's just go through this real quick. I've got it pulled up on the monitor here. Juarez Canyon, best dog, anything with a tortilla, cook's choice, no desserts, but then also a dessert can be made off site, but no store-bought entries. So essentially, you have got 4 things that you need to cook on the first day just while you're getting ready. That's literally the Saturday lineup.
Yeah.
The plan of what happens, right, is those 4 things.
Of course. Yeah, which I also like that you can make the dessert off site, because that means I can just go down to Genditerai, buy one of their amazing cheesecakes, slide it into a cardboard box and just bring it down. Like, surely half the people there are doing that, right? I mean,
there's probably half the people there doing that, but what they're probably doing is they're buying that awesome cheesecake and then they're adding like their own, whip whiskey topping of some kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
like
makes
there's
sense,
something that's happening there, I would assume.
Maybe a little parsley and then say I made it. A little jam or something on the plate.
Yeah. Cilantro. Sunday though, you've got your chili and salsa turn-ins, pork butt turn-in, brisket turn-in, chicken turn-in, and pork ribs turn in. And that definitely is going to be a 2-day affair doing all of that. There's just no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, looking at these times, your chili and salsa turn in is 11:30. If you're making that chili from scratch, what does it take to get your beans all? It's like 4 hours. It's a significant amount of time.
You better have a pressure pot.
Unless you're pressure cooking it. So, I don't know if you're getting up at 4 a.m. or just pulling an all-nighter, but it definitely looks like a piece of work.
That brisket is on, though, and that's due at 1 p.m., but a brisket, you need 14 hours, 12 to 14 hours to cook. So that in and of itself is what's going to keep you up all night.
Yeah, there is a lot of work here. Just the smoking and barbecuing, making salsa. But I do like that they throw in the Olive Garden buffet dinner at 6 p.m. the night before. Really loaded on carbs. And that way it's really easy to stay awake all night when you're just overloaded with pasta.
Exactly. And undoubtedly, all of the drinks you're going to have and things like that, too.
Yeah.
It's going to help you stay awake. Yeah.
Olive Garden, if it's, all you can eat buffet, I don't know if it's open bar, but I'm assuming they're throwing something down for you.
Well, it's a good thing that we've got this big bottle of espresso flavored rum. Yeah, the pork ribs, I think, went pretty darn well for us. We got 6th place out of 13 teams.
Your pork ribs were delicious. I like them very much. I honestly wish I would have went around and tried all the team's food. In hindsight, if I do another one, that's something that I will make sure I get time is go around and try at least everybody's ribs. Because out of, 14 competitors?
13, yeah.
13 competitors, I tried maybe 4 different ribs.
Right.
And I didn't even try the guy that won. So that doesn't give you the perspective I think that you want to get when you walk away. So I think if I do it again, I'll definitely be doing a lot more tasting and testing just to see what's doing well and what's not.
I'm completely with you. Although you have to admit, our setup was definitely the only setup with, let's just say, the types of smokers we were using.
Yeah, there was a lot of people running pellet, electric powered stuff and whatnot, whereas we were off the grid, so to speak.
We were very off the grid. I was impressed to see people using those brand new Timberline triggers, though. I hadn't actually seen one in person until people started pulling them out. There are probably 3 teams, I think, there with the Timberline 1300s.
Yeah.
And those are new the brand new lineup, and those are some nice grills. I was really impressed to see those out in force already.
I hadn't actually looked at those too much. I have been looking at new grills. I'm kind of playing with the idea of picking up a pellet smoker, but I'm not 100% sure on what I want quite yet. So
yeah, you have any? What are the front runners for you?
Oh, right now I really like the Camp Chef, but I don't like the price. The Camp Chef Woodwind grill is pretty top of the line, but it's pushing $1,000. It's good size grill, pellet, and you have the plate where you can go expose the flame, or you can just go smoke. And it comes with a sear box, which is the main thing I like, because it has a 900-degree sear box. You can kind of smoke some steaks. You can reverse sear them or whatever you want to do. But I really like that feature of it. But the price is a little tough for me.
It is. It's definitely hard. Timberline 1300. That's coming in at $2,000.
Yeah, that's not in my price range, which maybe I haven't looked at it very much. I have looked at a couple of the Traegers. The Traegers, for their features, run a little higher than everybody else. It seems like maybe worth it, maybe not. I don't know. I know they have great customer service, and where we're located, we're not far from their headquarters, which helps. My dad did have one, and part of it rusted out, and it was several years old, and he just wrote them a hand letter saying he was a little disappointed that it had rusted out already, and he paid all this money for this grill. A couple weeks later, just in the mail, a whole new barrel piece showed up for it. So
that's wild.
Pretty great customer service, at least through that experience I have of it, which I'm guessing probably not going to get that through a lot of other vendors, but you're definitely paying a premium for those Traegers. They are nice.
Yeah, they're very nice. I'm always curious about the temperature control. I've asked people before, do you trust the digital readout or do you throw your thermometers on? I'm fairly certain a few of the people using the new Traegers did have external thermometers, or at the very least they had meat probes, the external meat probes that were going into their meat. But that's one thing that I've always wondered about the pellet smokers. Like, how important do people feel like it is to have that secondary thermometer to be able to monitor what exactly is happening in the barrel?
Yeah, I know. I mean, if you're running just your regular charcoal or chunk wood smokers and grills, how close are you? I mean, you kind of look over, it's 15, 20 degrees high, you dial it down a little bit, you're going back. So it doesn't seem like those are that accurate as well, unless you just stand there and stare at the thermometer. I know some of the newer Traegers have a built-in meat probe that you can just plug in, which I love that feature. It seems nice.
Same with the Green Mountain grills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other one was looking at, and the name is escaping me, but they make almost like a Weber style, the old round grill, but it's in a pellet grill style. And I really don't cook a lot of big stuff, so that would probably be good for me and take up less space on the patio. But I can't find a ton of reviews on it. I believe it's Tex-Mex, or I spoke with you about them before. I'm trying to remember the name of them. Rectech, yes, Rectech grill. And it's one of their smallest ones. I think it comes in at 5 something. And it's a great looking grill. There's not a ton of information on their site, and I haven't really just sat down and watched a bunch of YouTube videos with it. So,
well, I follow them on Instagram, and I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people that do competition with their Rectech grills. As a matter of fact, I think some of the folks that work for Rectech use them to do competition, and apparently do pretty well with them too.
Yeah, so that's
here we go.
Bullseye.
I just pulled it up on the monitor. The Bullseye RT B38 380. Excuse me.
Actually, $100 off right now. Maybe I should jump on that. It seems like, honestly, for that's a size that would really be 90% of what I do would fit in there. I mean, I've ran a smaller grill for a long time and almost never had an issue not being able to grill up enough food fast enough. So
that's really interesting that they're doing a pellet grill, but in a kettle style. That's really interesting to me.
I would think you'd get a little bit more even smoke, but, who knows?
Provides 15 hours of cooking at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Which reminds me, if I were going to run out and buy a pellet smoker right now, and this probably tells you more than you need to know about me because I am a super cheapskate. However, I do just genuinely like the look of these, the Pit Boss Copperhead pellet smokers. They've got this gigantic hopper on the back, and I'm trying to remember, here it is, a 40-pound hopper allows you to cook at 200 degrees for 24 hours. So let's pretend you were running 275 degrees for a brisket or something, right? You'd probably be able to set this thing and forget it. And about the time you ran out of pellets, your brisket would be ready.
Yeah, that's actually pretty impressive. The downside, it's not a grill as well, so you're kind of...
Oh, yeah, it's a cabinet smoker. I shouldn't call it a grill.
But what's this run price-wise?
$400.
No, it's not a horrible price either.
And it's about the size, honestly, of a small refrigerator. We've talked about it on a previous episode before, but I'm still enamored with it. I really am. They make two different sizes of this vertical smoker. One's a little smaller, one's a little bigger. But I don't know. I love the idea of being able to run 450 degrees for, well, what would this be? 40-pound hopper. You'd probably run that for 8 hours if you needed to.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've toyed with the idea of just kind of rehabbing mine, which I've actually, my grill, it's a propane infrared charcoal grill. I've had it 8 years probably, and I went through and ordered a bunch of new parts for it and replaced a bunch of parts once already. So I've toyed with the idea of just rehabbing it and then picking up something like this, a vertical smoker, because I would like to have one. But yeah, I'm still in the thinking about it phase. One of these days I'll get it all figured out. That is nice. I wouldn't mind having that either.
Well, it's a really hard choice because for the kind of money that you're paying, it's just hard. It's hard to nail something down. It's hard to go, okay, I have $2,000, because it wasn't that long ago that you and I were spending $2,000 on a car that we raced.
Yeah. No, it's insane what how your priorities work and stuff, as you get older. But yeah, no, I paid $250-$300 for the grill I currently own. And then, it's, got a ceramic plate in the bottom, which you can throw chips in and smoke with it and stuff. And it's a good grill. I've had a lot of good life out of it, but it's like, I paid $300 or so for that 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. And now I'm looking at another grill, and just basically this thing would just get shoved in the trash can. Mm-hmm. Probably at a minimum, probably spend $500, and it could be up to $1,000. So it's, money gets thrown everywhere nowadays. And if you love barbecuing, it's tough to get away with it, at least in Oregon, where you can't just have a nice outdoor pit and do that year round. So around here, you definitely need something you can have up under the patio.
That is the hard part, because you see all these guys that set these pits up where it's just cinder blocks, right? And you have a couple of cinder blocks stacked on top of each other, and then you have a piece of expanded metal, and then more cinder blocks stacked on top of each other, and then they cover it with a piece of plywood or something, and they just throw coals underneath of it, and that's how they do the open pit barbecue. There was a barbecue competition here a couple months ago. I'll have to find it and link it on the website, boostboostbbq.com. And they had several of the big top name barbecue guys, and they just showed up, and literally they just set up this thing where it was the cinder blocks in the square, and they put their expanded metal grate on there that the meat was going to go on, and they had a burn barrel, essentially 55-gallon barrel that they had set up, and they were just feeding wood into it, and then the coals in the bottom they were just scooping out because they had cut a hole in the bottom of the barrel. And they smoked whole pig, whole goat, a bunch of big beef pieces, and it looked like it was absolutely delicious. And I mean, that's a real easy way to go. It's a mobile way to go. But when you're in Oregon and the weather can turn on a dime, it's hard to have something like that set up and use it.
Yeah. And then particularly where I live, I'm literally surrounded by large grass fields. Mm-hmm. So anything kind of open pit like that, I'm pretty cautious about, because, I'm not sure the acreage and stuff there, but if there was a field fire that happened, I would owe probably in the millions of dollars to farmers around me.
Yeah, definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah. No, I used to be pretty big into, non-locally sourced fireworks, if you get my drift. And that's a habit as soon as I moved to this new place, I've dropped pretty quickly. It wasn't even that tempting for me. I was actually at a place where I could purchase some large-scale, small explosive-type fireworks, and I thought about it for about 4 seconds and went, no, I'll pass. Mm-hmm. I enjoy owning a house and not getting my paycheck garnished for the rest of my life.
That is the very definition of adulting. You're looking around going, it's not that I don't want to do this because I'm an adult. It's because I don't want to owe somebody else money for a mistake for the rest of my life. And so it does change your choices.
Yeah. Although I have been thinking about building a wood-fired pizza oven, which I have the space to do it. It's just if I want this concrete eyesore for the next however many years and probably use it, a dozen times a year. I mean, once a month, that probably not that much, honestly.
Well, I have some good news for you because I became obsessive with figuring out how to make a small, semi-portable, not exactly portable, but something that's not going to be a permanent fixture at my house, pizza oven. And I think we should talk after the show. I definitely think that we could work something up here. Here's the real question, though. Barbecue. Is it real barbecue if you're using pellets versus electric versus chips and propane versus wood? Like, where do we personally land on that spectrum?
For me, as long as you're not using liquid smoke, which I use often, but I mean, as long as you're not using liquid smoke, I think you can say it's still barbecue. You still smoked it. But, there's definitely some extra bonus points. It's still hunting if you use a gun, but if you use a spear, I definitely have more respect for that. So I will definitely say there's something added to it the more primitive you do it. I heard from a lot of people that I can't remember how exactly they worded it, but they're like, well, we see you're using Walmart/homebrew, you're probably going to win. So,
oh, how wrong they were.
So there's a little bit said that sometimes just doing it the simple way is the best way, but it's also nice to just turn on a nice Traeger pellet grill, set your temp, and go take a nap. I mean,
this is very true.
And maybe not the best idea for competition, but for on your back porch, I'm gonna go watch some TV, and I'm probably not gonna think about that for the next couple hours. And if it were a bunch of coals in there, I probably would not get nearly as good of a product as something I can kind of set and forget.
I do like the coals, though. There's something very visceral about that. Like, I don't mind the fact that I have to tend it once in a while. It's really not that often once you learn how your pit runs and how often you need to replace the wood and stuff like that. Not replace, obviously, but add. But I kind of like that about barbecue. I like having to light something on fire. I like having to tend the fire. I like having to put a little bit of something, a little je ne sais quoi into it, something that's a little bit intangible. It's just a feeling. It's this innate feeling and intuition once you build it up about being able to handle the temperature. Now, having said that, I still really do want a pellet grill because I really am with you there. There are some times when I think it would be a lot easier to just throw it in the pellet grill.
Yeah, that's what makes it a hobby, I think, is the hands-on part of it. But the part where you just want to grill up some steaks and get drunk, that's not the hobby part. You're actually just hungry for good food. So there are definitely times you don't want to stand out with some rain or in the 93-degree heat or whatever part of the country you live in. There's always some kind of weather that makes it miserable, humidity or something, mosquitoes.
Hurricanes, tornadoes, lions, tigers, and bears.
Earthquakes,
Tsunamis.
Small tsunamis or floods.
Radioactive fallout. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. You get it. Bears and wolves, things like that.
So let's not forget the mongoose. I mean, there's
mongoose and wolverine. I've been to Hawaii. Those mongoose are everywhere. And if one did decide to attack you, and they're small, but I don't think even at my size, pushing 300 pounds, that I could kick its ass.
It's one of those things where it's really on the fence, It's sort of like a porcupine. Like
literally,
if a porcupine,
it's on the fence, and then next second it's on your head.
Well, if you saw a porcupine coming at you, you'd definitely have to debate, like, what are the odds I'd be able to kick this thing before it could shoot some spears into me?
Yeah, the porcupine, I feel like less scary. I've seen those in the wild a couple times, and they don't have the agility. They're not very highly mobile. I feel like I could, go get in the car and back over it or something along those lines. Whereas the mongoose, they're like a really big squirrel with bigger teeth and claws, maybe faster than a squirrel.
Also rabies.
Possibly rabies, yeah. Anything that can kill a snake. I feel like anything that can kill a snake without getting injured or bit, probably not red-tailed hawks can do that. I'm not, some dogs, wild dogs, can do that. So all those animals, even though small, I'll put in a class of animals that definitely ruin a grilling experience, like times 10.
Right, exactly. So basically what we're saying, folks, just in summation, if you live in an area where wild packs of albatross will fly down and try to pick out your eyeballs, having a grill where you can adjust the temperature via Bluetooth on your phone, it comes in handy. It comes in handy. That's all we're trying to say here in summation.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's a small flood, hurricane, tsunami, massive deadly packs of mosquitoes and packs or swarms.
I think they're in a murder.
That makes the most sense. A murder of mosquitoes. So yeah. So if you want a pellet grill and you have wild animals, I would go there. Less wild animals or natural disasters in your area, I go with the old fashioned way.
I think we just described Australia now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, they should all have pellet grills there.
I'm thinking so, with Bluetooth connectivity.
I have a feeling there are no pellet grills there, though.
I like what you said, though, about barbecue being a hobby, because you're absolutely right. Cooking food is cooking food, but good barbecue, I definitely think that can be considered a hobby, because there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that.
Yeah, no, it's like anything else. There's you going out to the shop and sticking two pieces of metal together real quick so that you can put a brace on a piece of fencing or something, and then there's you going out there and trying to create something, whether it be artistically or it's going in a vehicle that requires a certain amount of your artistic ability, your creativity. It just, you're putting a piece of yourself into it, and then the other ones, you're just trying to get something done as quickly as possible. And the same with barbecue. There's one, you want a piece of meat, you want some smoke flavor on it, you want it as good as possible with the least amount of effort. One where you're going to go out there and you're going to try and handcraft this meat,
Mm-hmm.
So I think
that's what she said.
The best thing here would be to get like both. You should probably have like a nice $2,000 Traeger and then some decent charcoal and or wood fired.
This has been quite the interesting product talk, because essentially what we've come down to here is if you're trying to decide between pellet, gas, wood, essentially you just need to own all of them.
If you're trying to decide to go real expensive or real cheap or somewhere in between, just get all three and move on from there.
And if you're poor, we do not care.
Well, if you're poor, you probably shouldn't be eating barbecue. Get some of that Spam, some liquid smoke, crock pot.
Have you ever seen the movie I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?
No, I have not.
There's a scene with...
So this is a real movie.
This is a real movie.
Punchline to a joke.
No,
okay.
Yeah, no. There's a scene with Chris Rock. He's very young. It's a very old movie. And he goes into a barbecue restaurant and he says, how much for just one rib? And the guy behind the counter, well, this is what our plate is, and this is how much it costs for this. Yeah, but how much for just one rib? And it goes on through this skit for a while. People can look it up on YouTube, or maybe we'll link it on the Facebook and the website. But he comes down and he finally talks the guy into, okay, just one rib. And then he pulls out $100 bill and goes, can you break 100? That's what all this talk reminds me of.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
All right. Well, hey, we're getting way off into the weeds, and this is going to be a long episode as it is. So let's go ahead and cut in. Who were the first people we talked to? I guess it was White's Meats, right?
I believe it was White's Meats. Really like that guy and his wife.
Yeah, Randy and Wendy. Mm-hmm. Super good people.
Super good people. Sound like they have a really good setup going there.
And they
really knowledgeable and just super friendly.
Oh, super friendly. And they stopped by our booth early, and we didn't have any food ready except for those tacos. Yeah. Remember we made the breakfast tacos with the eggs and bacon and eggs from our chickens, obviously. Eggs, bacon, and my wife's corn salsa that she made. And everybody just died over that corn salsa. Every single person, all they could say to me was just like, yeah, great tacos, but that salsa, where did you get that? That was amazing.
That was excellent salsa. I'd like to have a jar at my house just as a condiment. Honestly,
I think we can set you up with that.
I'm not sure how long it'll last because I'll probably just get out some corn chips and have at it. But yeah, it was quite delicious. I didn't realize that was your wife's. I thought it was kind of your own creation. So
Nope. That was Coy and straight up.
Well,
and that
I just lost a lot of respect for you. Yeah.
Yes, but you gained respect for our new show that's going to be coming out in a couple of weeks. Pardon my fork. Be looking out for that real soon. Going to be bringing that around. So back to Randy and Wendy. They had some great stuff to talk about. We didn't catch all of it, obviously, because they were trying to just make their rounds. We found out that he has this awesome four-wheel drive custom van that he's working on. I can't wait to talk to him about that in a future episode. But we just kind of talked to him a little bit about, what they're doing, how things are going, how they're involved with this barbecue competition. So let's go ahead and cue that up now. Good. Randy, Wendy, thanks so much for sitting down with us. How are we doing, you guys?
Oh, good. It's a beautiful day for barbecue. We're happy to be here.
It is a beautiful day out here. It's getting a little warm, but the breeze is picking up, which I love. Yes. Got to just point the intake of the smoker towards the wind and let her roll.
That's right. Rolling coal.
That's right. That's right. Now, you guys are with White's Country Meats.
That's right.
And you have donated the meats to the event today, which we greatly appreciate. Thank you so much for doing that.
Absolutely. It's for a great cause.
It is for a fantastic cause, and I'm really glad that you guys could make it out, too, because not only did you donate the meat, now you get to taste it.
That's right.
That's like a win-win-win. You're giving it to a good cause, you get to taste it, and most people around here have some really great boozes that are, I'm going to use air quotes, going in their sauces that you get to come around and try.
That's right. That's right. Hopefully steal some ideas for back at the meat shop. That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Just make our products better.
Well, I don't know if they can get too much better. Just off the air, we were talking about how you guys are going to start processing venison, right?
Oh, yeah. October 1st, it really kicks off that main rifle season, and that's when we start really processing a lot of meat. That next 3 months is gangbusters, if it were. Do about 1,100 animals. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
That's wild.
So bow season is going on already. Do you not get as much for bow season as you do rifle?
Not typically. Most of those guys who are they're going out bow hunting, they like doing a lot of their own processing.
That makes sense.
If I find, more of the guys who are rifle hunting, they typically don't have the time. They're going out for a week. Those bow hunters sometimes are out there for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And they can definitely have the time to process it after they harvest the animals.
Yep.
Well, speaking of processing animals, Wendy, what's it like trying to corral him in?
I can't really do that.
It's like herding cats.
Yes.
That's right.
He gets an idea and we tend to try it out.
How long has White's Country Meats been open and running? And kind of how'd you get started?
34 years we've been going strong now. My grandfather started it. Ran it for about 10, 11 years. Then was having some health issues and ended up selling it to my parents. And it been 22 years now, and then the last couple years me and my wife have been in our succession plan with my parents, trying to get them fully retired. They don't do the rain, so they've been doing the snowbird thing, going to Tucson every year.
Oh, yeah.
So
don't blame them a bit.
About 50%
retired,
if you were.
There
We
you
have a
go.
4-year-old son who's in there making pepperoni and sausage links with me any chance he gets. So
this is going to go 4 generations, maybe.
We hope so.
Oh,
We
wow.
hope so. But it's his
awesome.
choice, not mine.
There's
so.
not a lot of businesses that really get handed down
Right.
like that anymore. It's pretty rare.
And that's what we're trying to do, is to keep that, generation thing going. It's got to be his choice, though.
Yeah.
He's got to choose to
We
do it.
can't force
We
him
can't
to do
force
it.
on him.
Well, but if you're putting a positive look out there and you're letting him see something that you really enjoy and you're passionate about, I think that really can help influence. I mean, of course, he's going to be his own person, but you're also not putting that negative stigma on the
Right.
family
Yes.
business.
Right.
'Cause that happens so often. It happened with my parents, to be honest with you. I grew up in a restaurant, and even though I'm here doing a barbecue competition, I don't ever plan on having a restaurant.
Sure. No, and that's where I was at for a long time with it. I ran away from the meat shop as fast as I could when I turned 18, went to a tech school and was wrenching on cars for 5 years, and that
Yeah.
industry kind of fell through for me, and back at the meat shop, and kind of fell in love with sausage making again and working with my grandfather in the sausage room and teaching me the love for the industry and for the product. And I just haven't looked back since, and it's been the best decision I ever made. Met my wife there, so it was a win-win for me.
Win.
Yeah.
I really think that family business that gets handed down like that really helps with that craftsman quality of things.
Yes.
In almost any industry, when it's gone generations like that, it seems like they're always a higher quality.
Absolutely, and that's what we're trying to bring to the table, is just bring our products up as to that high level, as high as we can, and just get better every day, learning new things, like coming to an event like this. I was just talking with the Constant Carnivore about some things, and learn some tips on chicken thighs, which is an awesome thing. Stuff I didn't know, and I've been in the industry for a long time, and just pick something up. So it was definitely worth our time coming out for sure.
Well, it sounds like I need to go and talk to him.
Yeah, I might need to make a trick over there, find out these cool tricks.
Well, I like stuff like this event, and I like talking to people like you because, Mike Rowe said something that I found very profound, and it's one of my favorite sayings. Don't follow your passion, but always bring it with you. And that's what you guys are doing. You're very passionate about what you do. You were very passionate about cars. Now you're very passionate about the meat business. I can see it from your tattoos. We're going to have to get some photos of those, my friends, and put them up on the website, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. No worries. Yeah. You have passion for sausage making. You got a sausage on your arm.
That's right. That's
You
right.
got a grinder. Yeah, you got all of it.
I like the butcher's knife with the whites
Thank
on
you.
it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
Appreciate it.
you guys, thank you so much for talking to us.
Absolutely.
We will
You're
let you go and find other delicious tidbits. We'll make you up something here before you go so you're not leaving on an empty stomach, okay?
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you.
great talking to you guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Absolutely.
Oh, and go and check them out. White's Country Meats. What's your website?
WhitesCountryMeats.com.
Awesome. Make
Check
it easy.
us out. Reverend Randall's Barbecue on Instagram.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much, you guys. Yeah, I really liked Randy and Wendy. Seemed like really good people. He really went in depth with his 4-wheel drive van project that he's doing, and actually it sounds pretty cool.
It sounds super awesome, and I have this sweet spot that I've had for 4-wheel drive vans since I was a child. There's not enough 4-wheel drive vans in everybody's life. We should all have a little more 4-wheel drive van in our life.
Well,
Life would be better.
You've got a show that's all about it. Well, coming out soon. It's going to be on the Boost Booze Barbecue Thomas Creek Digital Media family of podcasts. What's the name of that?
It's called Overlandia. It's kind of a Northwest-based overland 4-wheel drive camping gear review, and just kind of gently making fun of all the silly stuff that people who overland, I'm saying that with air quotes, do nowadays, and just a realistic view of it. And I believe we're going to be doing that every 2 weeks. We're going to try and twice a month have a show come out, an hour or so. Yeah, get some decent interviews and with some of the local people here in the Northwest, and it should be a fun show. I'm looking forward to it.
This is a great area for it. It really is. There's a lot of off-road people here. There's a lot of fabrication that's happening here. There's a lot of just people that are into it. The Great Northwest, it really summarizes it. We've got a lot going on here in Oregon as far as the off-roading scene. So I think it's going to be a really, really good show. I know it's going to be a really good show, not just because you're at the helm, but because there's so much here to explore.
It really is. I mean, Oregon has such a varied terrain. You start at the coast. We have a lot of beach that you can drive on compared to the rest of the United States. As far as dunes go, we got the coastal range. It's kind of a wet, northern rainforest. Then we move into the valley, and then we got the Cascade Range, and then the high desert. And, the terrain's so varied in such a small area, but when you're considering the massive terrain ranges we have here, it's pretty incredible. And then Washington and, California and Idaho kind of have a similar thing going on. So it's, and really the Northwest is kind of the hub for a lot of this. We're actually having a similar conversation the other day. I don't know how many companies make winches for the front of your truck or whatever.
Mm-hmm. You mean besides Harbor Freight?
Yeah, besides Harbor Freight, other than Badland, who all makes winches. Just here in the Northwest, we have in Wilsonville, there's Come Up Winch. I believe in Milwaukee, Portland is the base for Warn Winch. And over in Beaverton or Tualatin, see like Mile Marker or Super Winch. Like out of the small handful of companies that build winches, 3 or 4 of them are based just right local to us. So, I mean, there's a lot of product that comes out of this area. I'm not sure why, but it works out convenient for us. And really the scene for 4-wheel drive and overlanding here in this area is pretty massive. So
I just realized what would be the most Oregon overland on the planet. You take roads that aren't really roads from winery to winery, and then you end at a cannabis farm.
That would be so Oregon. I don't think you could contain all that Oregon in one vehicle. It'd probably blow the windows or roof off of it.
If you had a mobile microbrew station truck that followed you around, that would be even more Oregon. But I think we're on to something. I think that's something you're going to have to do in like 2019.
I don't know how many of these, again, air quotes, overland guys you've hung out with, but a lot of their trucks are mobile cannabis farms. So yeah, no, if you're looking to not get a contact high, don't get in other people's Jeep Cherokees.
That's fair.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's fair. I think that summarizes the Oregon overland experience.
Yeah, no, it's, there's definitely a lot to make fun of, but it's definitely a lot of fun. So
I can't wait for that to come around. And I'll tell you what, I can't wait for another one of these barbecue competitions to come around. I'm really glad that we cut our teeth on, I don't want to call it a small competition, but obviously it was a small competition because it's only a single day that it ran. But it was also for a really, really good cause. You know, the Forest Grove wrestling team benefited directly from all of this. And I loved talking to the organizers, Chad, Michelle, and then of course Joe Guerra, who helped organize the whole thing because he's big in the barbecue community. Joe is the man. Like, I love the setup that he has. 503 Barbecue, Northwest Barbecue Crew. You guys definitely have to go out and check him out. That's his handle on Facebook and Instagram and all that. And really good folks that are doing it. And I'm really glad to see that they were able to benefit so much from this event.
yeah, as far as Joe goes, just to say how good he is, anybody who PETA like targets because they barbecue so hard, that's a guy I want to have barbecue from. Like that, I wish PETA would target me for that reason. Like, I'm a little jealous.
Oh, I totally am too. It's great publicity.
It's great publicity, but at the end of the day, be like, oh, you barbecue? Yeah, I do too, but I mean, PETA's trying to get me to stop. I don't know. They don't really care about, small fry over here, but they definitely want me to stop barbecuing, so I don't know where you're at.
Well, I tell you what, let's just go ahead and pull up the interview and let you guys hear it for yourselves. We've got Michelle here. She's one of the organizers at the BBQ In The Grove. And actually, your fiancé is the head coach for the wrestling team at the Forest Grove High School, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Well, how did everything go? How does it look?
You know, this year was so much smoother than last year. It took us a lot less time organizing. Everyone at the event was happy, which wasn't the same as last year. We ran out of food a little early last year. But this year, the crowd was happy. The food was delicious. Everyone was smiling, having a great time. Lasted the whole time. We didn't run out of food. And we sold almost 4,000 tickets. So that was pretty incredible.
That's incredible.
Is that the most you've sold so far?
Oh, yeah. We went through a reel and a half of tickets this year, and we made it through about a half last year.
Do you remember about what you sold last year?
Last year it was a break-even event, and this year we made almost $2,000.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Well, following that trend, next year you guys are going to make $4,000, and the year after that you're going to make $8,000.
And actually, that was $2,000 without counting the sponsorship money, so we haven't gotten that far yet.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I know we had at least $1,000 in sponsorship.
And plus raffles.
Mm-hmm. The 2,000 includes the raffles.
Oh, it does include raffles.
Oh, you had
Okay.
a great raffle, though. That Traeger grill. I bought raffle tickets. I mean, my odds felt pretty good.
That Traeger grill, before we even opened up ticket sales today, we had already made $600 on the Traeger grill.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that was a good piece to include.
I'm actually here because I was trying to do a little bit of research because we want to organize our own barbecue competition in Corvallis.
Very cool.
But after seeing how well you guys did and what a great cause it was, I think I'm just going to keep coming back to this one.
Both are great. Actually, the Guerras, Joe and Marianne, they were kind of our scouts. They're in the barbecue competition ring. They pitched the idea to Chad and myself, and then we just started going to barbecue competitions, figuring out what we liked, what we didn't like, what worked, what didn't. So we stole a lot of ideas from other people's and then just kind of grew upon that.
That's the best way to go. You look at what people are doing that's successful, and then you mimic it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah.
So-
and Chad and I are from Iowa, but we lived here in Forest Grove for a year and a half, and he's been coaching for 4 years now. And they do have a community here, but there isn't a lot. There are a few events, but there's nothing like sports centered that brings the whole community together. And we've just noticed from being out on the West Coast, wrestling isn't as big of a community. So we really wanted to figure out how to get the community to rally around wrestling, and that's kind of what grew into this event.
Yeah.
You've
Heck
noticed
yeah.
football's kind of the go-to around here.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and soccer and hockey.
really?
We don't have those back in the Midwest.
Hockey.
Not as big anyway.
Hockey. In Oregon, really? Mm-hmm. Huh.
Maybe
Fine.
just compared to Iowa, but it's a lot bigger.
Wait, did you say hockey or soccer?
Both.
Oh, both of those. Okay.
And of course basketball, but we don't talk about basketball when we're at wrestling events.
Nobody really likes basketball, even the people who play it aren't into it.
I thought that was baseball.
No, people who play it, baseball are into it. Just the people watching it, it's not a spectator sport. Nobody likes to watch baseball.
I do. Don't tell Chad you said that.
No
I'm
one
always trying to
really
make
likes
him come
it.
to the games.
It never fails. Whenever he says something like that, the person's always like, well, I like it. So
I really
Yeah.
do.
calamari is the worst. Well, I'm a calamari farmer. It never fails.
Never fails. You want to read like the places, and I also was curious, how did the judging system work? Was there like a couple different points they hit on, or?
Sure. There were 4 pieces that the judges judged on, and it was 1 to 10, and then whatever scale 1 to 10 they judged, then that was totaled up for the total. So in first place, it was Against the Grain with 37.83 points.
Very cool, like those guys.
They were pretty great. This was their first competition, too, so that gave them a boost of confidence, which is good.
They should.
Second place was Chill Factor,
I'm sorry.
34.5.
I apologize for interrupting, but that's the kid where they take their first math test at a new school, right? And they score 103 points on the test. They've now set that bar, and it's a problem. I am of the persuasion that when you first take a test, you need to get like a C+. Just come in right at the middle of the road, and people can't really be mad at you. They go, C, that's not great, but I mean, you passed. It's more than passing, And then when you start rolling in the B's, people are happy.
Totally.
If you just get the A+ right off the bat and then you throw in a couple of B+, it feels like you're striking out when you're really not. That's the problem.
I see where you're going. So if you had won, you'd been kind of pissed. Like you'd been a little upset
No,
about
I would
winning.
have. Yeah, I absolutely would have.
Yeah, no, I knew you didn't want to win. You wanted like a middle of the road. That's what you're aiming for. So
Well, notice, I mean, we're going to get to it, but notice where we fall. It's exactly where I wanted to be.
Perfect.
wow, that's epic planning. Go
All right,
ahead.
I apologize. Go
No,
ahead.
that's okay. Third place was Bites. They actually won last year. They had 32.3 points this year. Fourth place was G2 Pit Crew with 32.1. Fifth was QPDX, 31.5. Sixth was Boost, Booze, and Barbecue, 30.8.
Sixth place.
And seventh, and there was a tie for seventh with Prilia Hill and Sassy Cheeks. They wrote that wrong. 30 points even. And then ninth was Chin's Barbecue, 29.8. 10th was Constant Carnivore, 28.5. And 11 was Big Dubs Barbecue, 28.1. And I feel like they said this was their first event as well.
So everybody was within 10 points, basically.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Wow. I've never, been on the judging end of one of these, but that seems pretty impressive. That seems like a close field.
And I did talk to one of the judges, and he said he found out after that he was judging low. He's like, I've never judged this before. I thought I was supposed to be harsh on everyone, but he was consistent, so at least it played out.
Consistency is important. It's like racing. At first, you're consistent, and then you're fast, and then you're consistently fast. So as long as he can, judge consistently, but then consistently judge us high, I feel like we're going the right direction.
Right. And he also took a huge box of leftovers home. I think all the judges by the end of it were pretty bloated because of all the barbecue and the beer in the beer garden.
I know exactly which judge you're talking about. I forced a pulled pork taco on him.
Probably. They were all bursting at the seams.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He stopped by the table that we had, and he was like, all right, did I miss anything? And I said, well, have you tried my pulled pork taco yet? And he said, no. And I said, well, you got to take a meat shot now. We're giving people just just a little bit, not even a bite's worth, in the bottom of a cup and saying, okay, it's a meat shot.
Nice.
Just to kind of see what that tastes like. Mm-hmm. And he took it and he said, I'm about to pop, but that's delicious.
He would.
So I have a couple questions. I'm thinking for next year.
Yeah.
You set the judges out here, and we do like a Simon Cowell thing. They can take a bite, just throw it, get angry, or really throw some praise on, put a show on.
Last year we had the judges out where everyone could see them, and there was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of hovering. The judges were feeling like they couldn't concentrate, so they requested to be hidden. But maybe next year we should do something in the middle.
My second question was, how can I get in this judging gig? Because it seems more rewarding than the cooking gig.
You really have to get into Chad's crew. Last year it was a lot of celebrities, which we did have some this year, but much more it was who does Chad know that he wants to give free barbecue
Grove and be buddies with
Portland.
Chad or Portland.
Yep.
I couldn't do that.
I'm with you. You know who we need to talk to? We've got someone coming on to Pardon My Fork here in a couple of months that was on the Food Network's Chopped a few times. We're going to have to pick her brain a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see. Pardon My Fork is a new episode, or a new show that we're going to be releasing here real soon, as well as Coy's own show, Overlandia. That's coming out real soon.
Yep.
And
Cool. Michelle.
Michelle.
What's interesting about that is everyone mistakes my name for Melissa if they don't remember my name, and that's the fake name I gave Chad when I met him.
It's the only thing.
Wow.
I can only see enough of your name through your hair to guess at Michelle.
Now I have to ask, though, I've seen what Chad looks like. Why did you give that Greek god a fake name?
Well, we met in college.
When you met.
He looks like he's chiseled out of stone.
Yeah, he does. We met in college. I was 19, he was 20, and he was really drunk in the bar, and he led with, my name is Chad, and I'm an Iowa wrestler, and I wanted nothing to do with someone who was an Iowa wrestler. And then he followed me home, so we talked.
Yeah.
Well, when something follows you home, you just have to adopt it and keep it.
It's kind of how Chad is, so you'll learn that now that you know him. He will follow you around like a puppy, but he's the best.
You did the butterfly thing, you set it free, and it came right back.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, I have to keep it.
Yep, he's everyone's little cartoon friend, little puppy.
Good times.
I love it. He seems like a real good guy. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Of course.
I really, really appreciate it, Michelle.
Thanks for coming today.
Oh, we loved it. We had a really, really fun time. We really enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing it again in the future.
Yay, we're pumped.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe we can get a little more insight to it with Chad. Chad, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing really good.
Head coach of wrestling at the Forest Grove High School, right?
That's correct, yeah.
It sounds like we did pretty well for you guys today, which is awesome. We're always glad to do stuff like this to help the community. It's really important, and I'm really, really glad that we were able to do it, and I'm glad that you guys financially did well, it sounds like.
So the funds that we raised tonight were about a little bit over $3,000, and we had about $1,900 of that just in ticket sales, which $1 equals one ticket, and the competitors could charge either $2 for ribs, $1 for a chicken, just a sampler, and I feel like we did a really fantastic job. And the barbecuers, they turned out. I mean, we had 12 competitors, and that's up from last year. We had 9. Nice. And we also cooked over 100 racks of ribs.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And 60 chickens easily, and people brought their own pulled pork and side dishes on top of that.
All donated, by the way, from White's Meat.
Yes, all donated from Gresham's White's Meat and Butcher. So that was a huge contribution. He was an ex-wrestler. He wrestled in the Portland metro area. He loves the sport, and he loves good barbecue. So this is a great combination of both those things. We do have a lot of fun in our wrestling program. I think that's a catalyst, honestly. The kids are enjoying it. Our numbers are really high. Our women's program is growing every single year.
Yeah.
Our goal is always to double our numbers. So we started with 2, went to 4, got to 8. Last year we had about 13, so almost double, but we're getting there. And OSAA, which is the Oregon Athletics Association, is finally going to sponsor female wrestling for the first time in 2019 season, and that's huge. And
Now you're talking.
How big a school is it that you're out of?
So Forest Grove is a 6A community, which is the largest classification. There's about 2,000 students at our school. And, our team, our roster size last year, we started at 70 athletes, men and women, and then we got down to about 55, which is really, really good in our sport to have 75% retention of athletes.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of that, and our community is really starting to support it, and that's cool.
That's really awesome. How'd you guys get hooked up, Joe?
With Chad,
Yeah.
we work together.
Oh, you guys.
We
guys
both
work
work at the
together.
high school, so and
I
we
gotcha.
met Chad. So, and then this came up as a let's hope this works, and it's working.
Oh, it's working well, my friend.
Yes,
This has been an awesome second year. Holy smokes!
right. I would have to agree. I think we must have tripled on food, more doubled on food. I don't know. We brought a lot of extra food, and then perfect timing. People stopped coming. We just sold out. So
It was perfect timing.
Yeah.
Like we literally sold the last little bit of our food to some folks, and then it just sort of dried up. It was perfect.
right. That was kind of coincidence. That was almost too perfect, but I'll take it.
Hey, man, you're putting that positive energy out there, and people are responding. That's what's going on.
Right. Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
So it felt like a pretty good size event this year, and it was almost double of what it was last year. So if we go off of Chad's double it every year rule, you're going to need to get some more street because we're going to run out.
That is true. That is very true.
They want to cross streets. We just don't know how hard it's going to be to do that. And if we could, I guess we could add more if we really sat down and sat everybody right. But I guess we'll know next year, see how we do next year.
I'm going to be real honest with you. I'm not going to let you put me at the end of the row next year.
Okay.
That's fair.
That is fair. You
That's
better
fair.
get here early.
That's right.
We had Aaron Chin's barbecue show up at 4:35.
What?
Yeah, and he was ready. He got his spot.
So we got to do like a Black Friday thing and just
Right,
camp
just
it on the
camp out.
curb at 9 o'clock the night before, find our spot.
Hey, I've got 2 really nice air mattresses that are actually comfortable. We can do this. It's no
Yes.
problem.
Well, how serious are you?
Yeah.
Well, if we double our position this year, that puts us almost to first place.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a
We'll
good
keep
point.
doing
We'll
this
podium if we
doubling
double it
thing.
next
I don't
year.
know. I was tasting some of your food, and it tasted pretty good.
Yes, the chicken
I
was
mean,
good.
everyone really put out tonight.
Oh,
and,
there was a lot of good
Oh, it was
food.
stiff competition.
Yeah.
Everybody was so close together. I was looking at the numbers, the judging numbers, and I mean, it was percentage points.
Right.
slight,
you know?
yeah. And the
Yeah.
judges that we got are all people that are close to our wrestling program, kind of hand selected. So they're by far, they're not master judges, but they are people that mean a lot to our wrestling community, and that's important to us. It's a way for us to give back to them,
Yeah.
and that's fun.
I also like that you do it that way because when you kind of get the same professional type judge, I feel like a lot of the teams would be able to kind of read what they're looking for, whereas it's kind of
Right.
a bunch of amateurs. It's anybody's game, which
Right.
makes it cool.
Right. The guy that won, Mark, he's never competed.
That's what we heard. This
but
was
he's
his
a
first
cook,
one.
So,
Well, that helps.
Second place guy, he's never competed either.
Oh, really?
So, and third place, he competed a couple times. He won it last year, but if you could cook, I guess competition's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Well, he was telling me actually, I'm not focusing on the People's Choice chicken this year. I'm focusing on the ribs, and he still got People's Choice chicken. So that means he's doing something right.
Aaron, yeah.
He still wins.
Right.
Have you thought about adding any more categories or anything? Like
We thought about doing a surprise category, like a mystery meat.
that would be fun.
It's just
Yeah, spam. Hello.
right.
No spam.
But yeah, like a mystery dish. Like competitions, they do that. They'll do like anything, like like the one we were in Redmond, anything whiskey
Yeah.
or wings. We want to try something different. I think next year we're going to look into that.
I was noticing nobody that I saw did a dessert.
Right.
It would be cool to
Right.
do it like maybe, I don't know if you do People's Choice or have it judged, but do a dessert.
Well, and
which
actually-
would be pretty interesting.
That's a good point because I was wondering how your whiskey pecan cheesecake did.
So we didn't score. Okay, flavor was good, but they said they did not taste the whiskey.
Oh,
So we didn't know that.
okay. Yeah, we are. You want to come and check it out?
And so next year we'll try.
We're
we'll do
only
the
in
exact-
39 states and 5 countries. I mean, small potatoes. Who cares about us little guys?
So next year we'll more whiskey. They want to taste that whiskey. So
Well, you know what the answer is then.
what's that?
You make one of those cheesecake shot glasses where like it's the cheesecake graham cracker at the bottom, right?
Mhm.
And then the cheesecake, but you hollow out the center and you just fill it with whiskey.
Oh man,
They take the
love
shot
that
and then
idea.
they eat the glass. Boom. Done.
Boom, done.
Do you take the shot and eat the glass, or you just throw the whole thing in your mouth?
That's what I would do.
Either or.
I feel like that's how I'd get
gotta-
a couple lined up and do like a speed move.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
The answer to Joe's problem is more whiskey.
Right. That's what they pretty much told us. They didn't taste it.
Actually, rarely the answer to problems, but in this
Yeah.
slim scenario,
Well, you were talking to my fiance earlier, Michelle, and she would definitely say that's never the correct answer. So,
Well, you know what?
who knows, though?
As distillers would say, alcohol is technically a solution. So, I'm just saying.
I like that.
We enjoyed talking to your fiance, by the way, and she had a lot of good things to say about you, which is good.
I would hope so. I've been with her for a decade, so.
Wow.
There's got a decade's worth of itty-bitty things has got to add up to at least, like, a sentence.
Well, she doesn't hate you, so that's a really good sign.
That's true. She's great, and likewise is Mary Ann, which is Joe's wife.
Oh, yeah.
She's fantastic, and she and Michelle and Joe and I, we were kind of the brainchild of this entire event, and we're extremely proud on how it's done and how it's doing, and the way that it's connecting community members and businesses. I talked with a local brewer today and a framing shop where they just make frames. They only make frames for pictures and things, and they were a vendor here today because they're on the street and they were selling bottles of wine, and that's just a really cool aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Marianne and Michelle, they really help us stay focused because me and Joe are the big ideas guys, and Joe has an amazing following and an amazing connection in the barbecue world, and so we're piggybacking off that.
Well, it's because
And
he's
that's
an
great.
amazing person. I
He
mean,
is. He
that's
is a
just
great
the way
person.
That's the way it goes. When you are someone that's open and nice and cordial and willing to talk to people, that's what it really takes.
Right.
That's what gets you ahead in life.
I was a little surprised how with just the turnout of how many people showed up. How did you advertise just to get people to know what was happening here?
We did a lot on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Word of mouth is great. Word of mouth has to be your best advertising.
And I apologize for interrupting, but your Instagram.
Is Northwest Barbecue Crew. And,
Northwest Barbecue Crew.
Yeah, and we have Meat Hustler Nation, and then 503 Backyard Barbecue.
All right, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but you do have to explain the Meat Hustler PETA feud.
Okay, Meat Hustler Nation. This started off. I did Northwest Barbecue Crew. PETA's going to probably come at me again if they listen to this podcast.
They don't worry.
Okay, so PETA came out.
Nobody listens, remember?
Yeah.
Nobody.
They called me a murderer, sent me some pictures. They had all these sorry if I'm cussing on there, but they were sending me pictures of them wearing these shirts. So I blocked a bunch, and I came up with the Meat Hustler logo, and then it went viral. And so now we're just killing it, and we're in every state, United States.
Literally killing it.
Yeah, literally.
Literally and figuratively.
Dun, dun,
Yeah, yeah, and now we're in other countries. We're in Germany, Australia, England.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're everywhere.
We got to get you in Hungary. We got some fans in Hungary.
Yep.
It's funny because I was a vegetarian when I first moved to Portland
Yep.
and to Forest Grove, and Joe always likes to take credit for turning me.
Turning them.
Well,
yeah.
It's not true, but
all
we'll
those
give him
cows
credit.
were eating your food, so
Right,
we just
we were
took care of
helping
the
you
problem
out.
for them.
What a nice
Exactly.
guy,
It's called revengeance.
Revengeance.
Is that a word?
I don't
It
know.
is
It is now.
It is now.
Listen, Metal Gear Solid uses it, so
So what did you guys think? You guys competed. Got to meet people.
Oh, yeah. We had a fantastic time. The amenities were great. You had water. You had power. You know, the people were here. It's one of those, if you build it, they will come type of situations where you really put this thing on and people showed up and they were having a good time. We had people showing up at 4 o'clock going, oh, man, where's all the food? Well, we started at noon. I don't know what to tell you, you know. That just means next year we need to make more food, basically.
Right. Yeah. And I'm telling you, we doubled this year. Everybody brought in bigger smokers this year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year we only had one big smoker. This year, 1, 2, 3,
At least.
4.
There's at least 3 or 4
Yeah.
trailer
I'm going
man
to say
smokers.
4 if you count ones that had to be loaded onto trailers.
Yeah. So so we did it. I'm excited. You know, positive.
Exhausted, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna still have a beer soon. I just gotta. I'm tired right now, but I'll be good. Red Bull vodka.
That'll
Well,
do it.
Joe's a little wet too.
Yeah.
You know, when at the end of football games, when a coach does a really good job, his team awards him with a Gatorade bath.
Yeah.
He got me.
I got him today with
It was
a cooler
cold.
of water bath.
It was cold.
It was real cold. He deserved it though, because I mean, he's the one who really, you know, you asked how we advertise it, and really, it's social media. It's on Instagram, and it's through his, you know, Northwest Barbecue Crew following that we could really put this on. Because you're right, he does reach tons and tons of people, and we just harness that, put it in a community where it doesn't happen, and now people are enjoying it and looking forward to the next year, which is exactly what we wanted.
Yep.
And it's fun. That's what makes it fun.
I know where we're looking forward to next year, and this was a great event, first event for us, and yeah.
It's very
you guys
addicting.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Well, I'm really glad you guys could come, and I really appreciate taking the time and talking to him.
Well, it's
to
like
me
I already
and
told Joe, you know, he basically forced me to invest my money into all the equipment to come to these.
Yeah.
So now I have no choice.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's addicting. I'm telling you.
That's really good.
Hey, you guys, thanks so much for talking to us. Really fantastic job. Congratulations to both of you. You deserve lots and lots of accolades, and we're going to give that to you on the social media, okay?
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for
Thanks
being
again,
here.
guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love those guys. Really, really nice.
Both great dudes, and great cause. It's a lot of work to put on an event like this, especially when it's not benefiting you directly. It's really just benefiting a bunch of kids. So
I loved your comments about Chad, though, you know, telling Michelle that he looks like an Adonis. That was pretty telling.
yeah. No, I got a little bit of a man crush on Chad. I won't lie. He's built like a Greek god, I think is what I told her. Carved out of stone. It says so much. If a man like that gets a chick lying to him about her name, what chance do the guys like us have? You know what I'm saying? Like, that dude, a chick is lying to him. I look like I'm built out of silly putty. Yeah, so a little depressing while realizing we're all facing the same problems. I guess.
You're not fat. You're just shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of shapes that are mostly round without corners, but
You're embracing the dad bod. That's what that boils down to.
I was embracing the dad bod long before I was a dad.
Well, we had a really, really good time, and I'm very impressed with those guys, and it was a really good turnout, really good event. Joe and Chad and Michelle and all the other volunteers, they deserve a real round of applause. I'm very impressed that they were able to put that on, and I really look forward to doing it next year, to be honest.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was a really well-run event. Everything went smooth, and had a lot of fun, and I was honestly surprised with how much product we sold at the end of the day. It was surprising.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
It sneaks up on you, I guess.
We have to take a little bit of an average of the tickets, since certain things were 1 ticket and then other things were 2 tickets. But based on our ticket sales, I use air quotes, we served around 200 people, which is pretty good considering we did not cook all that much food. I mean, there were people there that were doing 9, 10, 12 racks of ribs, and we did the bare minimum of 3.
Yeah, and as far as the chicken, the People's Choice for the chicken, they really should take an average of how many tickets you sold for chicken, and then go off of it. 'Cause this other guy sells 400, and I sell 43, but I get almost as many best chicken tickets as him, who really had the best chicken.
I see what
what
you're
I'm
doing.
saying?
Yeah, you're trying to pad those numbers. I got
There's
you.
definitely got to be some kind of grade on a curve there.
Sure, there needs to be a ratio.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you did that, we'd be be a solid win on that People's Choice. But
Well, Chad, Joe, that's food for thought for next year, okay, guys?
yeah, or you could just make it so that we win next year. Let's call it even.
Well, we'll see what kind of guns we're bringing next year. We might actually have a little bit more tools of the trade to be able to use, but we're going to see. A little sneak preview for you guys there at home. I'm not talking about it just yet, but some interesting things in the works for the Boost Booze and Barbecue crew, so we'll see how that all shakes out.
A lot of welders and plasma are getting fired up, and we'll see what comes of that. But
yeah, we'll see. Well, hey, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for telling a friend. Make sure to like and subscribe, of course, and we always appreciate when you guys do that. Find us, facebook.com/BoostBoozeBBQ, BoostBoozeBBQ on Instagram and Twitter, the website, boostboozebbq.com. Your Instagram, remind me.
Overlandia Podcast, one word. We don't have a ton up there right now, but there's definitely some funny stuff that we got posted. So
I think folks should go over there and like you and follow you just so that they can stay apprised of what's happening. Overlandiapodcast.com, I think, is on the way or in the works, so stay tuned to that, folks. And, of course, you can find any of that linked through the boostboozebbq.com website. We're hosting a whole family of podcasts, and so make sure that you go over there and check that out. Coy, thank you so much for being here. For Coy, this is Andy, and we will see you next time.